Hey everybody, so today is December 25th, 2020, which is Christmas Day. I hope everybody else around here watching this is having a Merry Christmas. Can't really say that for myself. I just wanted to do a video because it's been a while since I've been on camera and it's been building up, but like right now I just feel like I need to talk. That's all. I just need to talk. And I really been toying about talking on social media, which I've posted some stuff already, and it's just basically the same information, but I already felt some type of way about today. Like with it being Christmas Day, it's already bad enough because like ever since losing my mom, like holidays have been like, I won't say horrible, but they're just, I don't enjoy holidays really anymore. I try to, but I don't. And then that was already kind of like weighing heavy. And then with the virus going on, like my family, we didn't get together for Thanksgiving because at work I had been exposed to other coworkers who had had the virus, and I didn't want, of course we were still going to work, everybody was still working despite all of us being exposed and maskless in the break room around these people who probably picked it up from customers in the store. Okay, so Nashville and Tennessee in general is like a big hot spot for the virus still. I think we're still like the worst state in the country for the virus, which is no surprise. But anywho, okay, so family didn't do Thanksgiving. We did get together after, like days afterwards, when we were kind of like in, well, when I was in the clear, for, you know, like everybody else who had the virus at work, they were already back to work, so I felt like, okay, I'm definitely safe. I've never had any symptoms, but I know I've been exposed. I've been exposed at least 5 times through work, which is like where I spend all my time anyway, other than home and an occasional trip to the grocery store or a very rare trip to the dollar store or Walmart. Anywho, so I don't know, my mind's all over the place right now. So anyway, I felt like at that point it was okay to be around, like they felt okay to be around me, I felt okay to be around them. So we are not doing Christmas this year. We're going to, I guess my aunt and uncle are coming over tomorrow, which is my birthday, to like bring us stuff for Christmas and to bring us like food that was made for Christmas. I don't know, but anyway, it's a great gesture. Just, it's like going back to my mom and everything. My parents, since I was born the day after Christmas, my parents always had this thing about like, if we're gonna do Christmas festivities, like, you know, any other time other than Christmas, we don't do it on my birthday. Like, my birthday is not a day for any kind of Christmas festivities, because they wanted to keep it separate, so that way I didn't feel like I was getting gypped out of the whole birthday thing. And I know that's not the case for this year. But still, it's just one of those things that it's like in the back of my mind, like, could we not? I don't know, I'm just being selfish. So I have so much and yet so little to say. So I guess what I'm really kind of getting at is like waking up today, you know, knowing like not going to be with family and whatnot, and not having the typical Christmas celebration and whatnot, which is kind of like a bummer. But then I wake up to news that there's been a bombing downtown, and which I've been watching the news all day about this, and it's just, fortunately, as far as we know, nobody was killed. It's just a crazy bombing. So reports, the story goes that about 1:22 in the morning, an RV pulled up on 2nd Avenue in front of a building that at&t owns. It's like a hub building, in which they kept saying the at&t building, which a lot of people thought was the Batman building, which is like over there near 4th Avenue, but it's not that. But it was pretty much across the street from Coyote Ugly and like a bunch of other businesses, like Coyote Ugly, I think the Wild Horse is like in that vicinity too. The Melting Pot, the Old Spaghetti Factory. There's so many other places over there. I mean, Second Avenue, historic Second Avenue is the way that they like typically refer to it, because like all the buildings down there, like old historic buildings. So an RV was pulled up, parked in front of the at&t building down there. Then I think they said about 5:30, people in the area started hearing gunshots go off. So there's speculation of whether that was actual gunshots or if it was a recording, because right before 6:30 in the morning, a recording started playing from the RV that was like something about like evacuate the area immediately, there's impending doom or something to that extent. I've heard like a couple of different versions of it, and like they played some of the recording on TV. It just, I don't know, but anyway, people were hearing it and heeding the warning, and police were going around, like, you know, police got word of what was going on and were going around and trying to get people to evacuate and whatnot. And then right around 6:30 or just after 6:30, the RV exploded and created a lot of damage. They say, like, as far as they know, only 3 people were injured, and right now, like, they're saying that there's possible human remains found near the RV. But the biggest question right now, like, there's so many questions. I know everybody has so many questions around here, like what's going on, why, but my biggest question, and I guess everybody else's biggest question, is why. So nobody really knows for sure. There's investigations going on. They're talking about, like, there's, you know, they're not going to give out a lot of information to the public because, you know, they need to do the proper investigations. But I mean, there's speculation that it was targeting the at&t building itself, because like they were like the recordings from the RV were warning people that, you know, explosion was going to happen, like, you know, it's coming. Like, it's as if they didn't want to hurt people, and it was in the area. There's like residential areas around downtown, but it wasn't like in a big residential area, and if they wanted to hurt people, like, Broadway would be the place to hurt people. But with it being in the more of a business area of Second Avenue, and with it being like Christmas morning, like, if it was like a normal business day, there'd be a lot of workers, employees at those places, like in those buildings, traveling around, you know, whatnot. But this happened at a time when, like, the entire year, this is the one time of the entire year that there's going to be the least amount of people in that area. So that's kind of bizarre. And the fact that there's warnings going out letting people know that this was taking place here in just a few minutes, like, again, it's just like, why? So I don't know. Again, there's all kinds of speculation. There's even like speculation of conspiracy theories about 5G networks, and somebody was out to destroy the at&t hub, because like it really has affected not only Nashville, but it's affected at&t customers. They're saying like in southern Kentucky and then northern Alabama have been affected by at&t outages because of this explosion. But also, they're talking about, in terms of the explosion itself, there's been a lot of people who said that they felt the explosion in my area. Okay, so I started out with like half battery life, and then all of a sudden it like went out really fast. But anyway, I was talking about how there have been people in my area who felt the explosion, which I'm probably, depending on like the map and the directions and the route that you go, like, I'm about roughly 10 to 11 miles away from where this took place. So there were people as far as Smyrna, which I've talked about Smyrna recently in my bead haul videos, how my packages kept getting stuck in Smyrna for several days, which Smyrna, like, my beads would come from the western part of the US, and Smyrna is like 20 miles west of here. I mean, no, sorry, 20 miles east of here. So my packages would come further east just to be like stuck in limbo and then come back 20 miles to where I am. So, I mean, that's like, given like 20 miles away plus like my 10, like that's about 30 miles from downtown that people are filling it. So I can't imagine what it was like being there in downtown, which I was like dead to the world. I think I went to bed about 3 a.m. this morning and I was just worn out. So it didn't even faze me. I had no idea that anything had happened until I woke up and heard what was going on. Okay, had some disruptions there. So that was pretty wild, finding out that like people were feeling it here, which I guess isn't really that like bizarre, because like when they have the fireworks going on, we can hear the rumbles of the fireworks. Yeah, that's just, I don't know. And it's just like Nashville keeps getting hit hard with things this year. Like first, I mean, we had the outbreak of the virus, and then in March we had the tornado, and then right after that we shut down. Like we went on lockdown, which we need to go on lockdown again, for crying out loud. And then after during the lockdown in May, we had that derecho or whatever it's called, where that big storm came through and knocked our electricity out, like all over Middle Tennessee, but mainly Nashville. And then after that we had the riots, which we thought that was horrible. Which, I mean, that was horrible. Like we had during the Black Lives Matter protest. It wasn't the Black Lives Matter people. It was like, I don't know if they really figured out who exactly was responsible for that, but it was rioters going berserk and being monsters and destroying downtown and breaking into buildings, setting the courthouse on fire, which they were showing it live on TV. Like all the news stations were showing it live, and it was all white people. So like, was it white supremacy groups, or was it just like there's talk about how like there were ads placed on Craigslist around the country wanting to hire people to come to Nashville to be part of all this and be paid to do it. But we thought that was terrible. And after that, I stopped watching the news. Like, after all that, that's when I stopped watching the news. And I haven't really been watching the news at all for months until today. And it's been on all day long. Just, I don't know what's going on in the rest of the world. I haven't even been watching, like, any of the Christmas stuff that I normally watch. I haven't even been watching YouTube like I normally would, because it's just been tuned into the news all day. Like, all the news stations around here, that's all it is. Like, there haven't even been commercial breaks. It's just been straight news and straight like footage of downtown and all this stuff replaying over and over again. And it's just, I don't get it. Again, the big question is why. And I'll reiterate that fortunately nobody was, as far as we know, killed, other than, I mean, it could have been a suicide bomber. Who knows? Maybe it was a disgruntled at&t employee. Maybe, what was the motive? Maybe that was what happened. It was obviously planned. But and another thing, like, with tomorrow being my birthday, like, last year I kept hoping that I'd be in Vegas this year for my birthday, and that never panned out. And like, also I was like, well, if things get kind of back to normal, you know, maybe I could go downtown for my birthday, especially to Gavin DeGraw's bar, the Nashville Underground. Like, that, I would have liked to have gone there for my birthday, but yeah, that's definitely, like, I mean, that was already out of the question because of all this stuff going on. Even though it's open, I don't like going places like, unless I just absolutely have to, because of, like, wearing the mask and being exposed to people. Like, going to work is bad enough. Like, every day I'm around so many freaking people. I'm sick of it all. I'm just sick of it all. Like, all the negativity, all the bad stuff going on. I'm just tired of it. So, but, like, there's so much damage that was done to a lot of the buildings downtown. Like, they showed, like, the buildings on 2nd Avenue go all the way through to 1st Avenue. Like, 1st Avenue is kind of like the back side of a lot of those buildings. So they showed like, the view from 1st Avenue looking at the buildings, and, like, pretty much all the buildings, the windows have blown out, or, like, there's one building where, like, all the window panes and, like, had, I guess, window panes, the whole, like, frame of the window had, like, collapsed inside to the building. It was like they were all, like, leaning into the building, and it's just, like, all the glass blown out and broken. It's crazy. I don't understand it. It's, like, again, it's just like, why Nashville, and just why in general? Why would somebody, or people, like, whoever is responsible for this, like, doesn't make sense. So anyway, that's what's been going on, and I really don't know. Again, I kind of don't know why I'm posting this, but at the same time I kind of do know why. It's just, I just want to talk about it, like, get it out of my system, just over it, over everything. Just hope, like, things get better. And, like, we're, Tennessee being, like, the worst state in the country for the virus, like, it's not going to get better until they do lockdowns again. But then a lot of people are like, lockdowns aren't going to fix it. So I don't know, I want things to get better. I'm just tired of everything. Anyway, I hope things are going better for you, and maybe they'll get better soon around here. Anyway, I'm just gonna end this video now. And just another thing, just to end this video, I'm all for people celebrating Jesus' birth and, like, you know, Christmas spirit, all that great stuff, but I didn't get to spend any holidays with my family, and all the other churches around here are closed down. But this, like, this parking lot was full just a little while ago, and now people are leaving. But how is this allowed? And you can see the condensation is starting to form. It's so cold outside. But just, how is this? Like, isn't this illegal? Like, they've been talking about limiting the gatherings here in Tennessee, especially in Nashville. I just don't get it. I don't know, I'm just being a Scrooge, I guess. But this, why is this allowed? Like, I don't think any of the other churches are doing this. I know our church sure as heck isn't. Anyway, I'm done for the day, so hopefully things are going better for you. And maybe my next video will be a more positive, happier video.